Welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. Every Wednesday, Mark and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Mark and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Mark and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
And welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. This is Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. I am your co-host, Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, coming to you live from Seattle, Washington. And right down the coast from me is my friend, colleague, and co-host, Kim Falcon, founder of Love First in beautiful Encino, California. Come on aboard, Kim. Let's have a wonderful show today.
Good afternoon, inspired listeners. Hello, Mark, and my lovely co-host. Just want to welcome everybody to our show today. So happy you're with us, as we always are every week. We really just love our inspired community and learning from our guests and getting to know you all.
And with that, we want to get into the show right away. We did have some technical difficulties, and sometimes things don't always align, as we well know, whether it's energetically or within spirit. We were supposed to have our special guest coming in from Australia, down under, Rhys Wynn Davies, psychic medium. He is having some technical difficulties, so we're going to have to reschedule him at a later time. And last-minute guest that we've had on before, it's been a while now, but Shamalah-Allah is going to come on last minute and be our special guest, and we're going to talk all about angels and our interaction with angels. But before we get to that, Kim, do you want to tell people how they can ask their questions on social media or how they can find us?
Yes, so I'm just posting now all over social media on Twitter and Facebook. Please send through your questions now. If you've got questions for Shamalah and the angels, you want to know what your angels have to say, this is our topic for today. We're going to learn about how the angels work with us, who they are, and any questions that you have around angels, who your angels may be. And if you want to know what messages your angels have for you, please send through all of your questions now, either on Twitter or on Facebook. We'd love to bring that live to air. This tends to be a favorite topic of our listeners, so we're excited, so excited to have Shamalah back. She is a spiritual medium, a psychic, a healer. She teaches classes. She's a wonderful teacher. She's certainly taught me over the years. She's been a fabulous mentor of mine. She's also an author, and she's been doing this work. She's been working with spirit for many, many years. She's got a lot of wisdom to share with us today. Her specialty, of course, angelic communication. So we're so excited to have her. Shamalah, welcome to the show.
Oh, yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad to be on the show. Thank you.
Talk about last minute, right?
I know, literally.
Literally last minute. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Down to the second, literally, right?
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think the angels are ready to do some work today with us, and we're so excited to have them be present with us, and we're so excited to have you, Shamalah.
Sure. Fire away. What's the first question? What do y'all want to know?
Mark, did you know? Okay, no, I know, right? Where do we start? There's so many things that we'd like to know. Well, we're waiting for questions to come through. Perhaps we'll have some. I know, people always want to know what the angels have to say. We see a lot about the angels today in the media with different shows, and there seems to be a broader mass appeal of learning about them. Shamalah, how long have you been working with the angels? Let's just start about learning a little bit about your background and maybe, talk more specifically about how they work with us. What are some of the things they'd like for us to know in general? I think that might be a nice place to start. How long have you been working with them?
Oh, sure. I've been working with angels close to about going on 17 years about. And I was first introduced with the angels through a Reiki class. I was taking Reiki and I was having a lot of experiences with the Reiki that were not considered normal Reiki experiences, such as my hands moving on their own and, getting messages in my head, hearing thoughts, getting pictures. And through trial and error, I discovered that the information coming through were from angels. As a matter of fact, the voices in my head, if you want to call it, identified themselves as angels. And I went through years of basically testing it out, giving readings to people for free, giving messages, and always qualifying that the messages came from the person's guardian spirits and angels. So angels are really highly intelligent beings. They describe themselves as light beings, are literally orbs of different colors, orbs of energy. They are non-human. And they are literally messengers of Goddess. They are messengers of God. And if you don't believe in God or don't understand Goddess, it doesn't matter. Angels pertain to all religions all over the world, whether you're, Hindu, Muslim, Christian. Angels are a part of many of the religions and even the Wiccan religions. And angels are here to help and assist us and grow. Now, angels are very, at least my experience with them, they can be very serious. They can be very comical. They do display some varying levels of emotions, but they're here to help us, where we're at. They're not a joke. They really are for healing, in a way that's very serious and very real, very honest, and very truthful.
Wow, that is just a beautiful description of, so we hear about angels, but a lot of people don't really understand kind of who they are. So that was a really nice introduction to who the angels are. Real quickly, for our listeners, I just want to emphasize that you can find us, of course, on Facebook under Inspired Living Radio or Twitter under Inspired for Us. So we'll be checking our social media platforms for questions that come through as we talk to our wonderful guest today, Shamalah, and we learn about the angels. So Shamalah, you talked about them being higher level beings. Are there hierarchy? Is there a hierarchy in the angelic realm?
They're described that way. Yes and no. And that's because you think, okay, hierarchy means lower angels, higher angels, but really there's many different angels that pertain to different specialties. So you have angels that will look over nations versus angels that watch over little babies. You have also angels that watch over animals. We call them fairies or fae folk. We have angels that help us in different areas of our lives, be it career, health, education. There's many specialties that come with the angels, and angels are invisible mostly. And this is the thing, I don't like that entertainment view of the angels with the wings and all the bright lights. The real day-to-day reality of the angels are they're invisible. They're invisible to our physical eyes. They can even be invisible to our psychic vision. They are invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And they work in silence. And so that's what can be very elusive to the average person. Now, the way angels work is they work through our intuition. They work through our thoughts. They communicate telepathically. They're very in tune with your intuition. So you may be communicating and receiving guidance from your angels and you don't even realize it. The most important thing that angels want us to know is that they are real and they are here to assist us with our soul growth. And to best communicate with them, you must sit in silence, maybe 2 or 3 minutes a day, and have that intention of communicating with them. And over time, maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 years, who knows, you will begin to receive messages from your angels. Archangels in particular are pretty loud, so you can even ask to communicate with archangels. You can start there even.
Well, as you talk about making a daily commitment of 2 to 3 minutes, I mean, really, who doesn't have that time, right? 2 to 3 minutes to have your life change is just such a wow. That's so easy for everybody to do, really. 2 to 3 minutes. How
Oh, yeah.
wonderful is that? Yeah, to be able to have a life-changing experience with just that little of a commitment is really pretty marvelous, I'd say.
Yeah, and I can go over some examples, when we get back from the break, over how angels really communicate to us on an everyday practical level so people can recognize it.
That would be great. Our community loves tips and exercises and stuff to do that helps us on our journey. So that would be really great. Now, when you say archangels, what is an archangel? Help us understand that.
Oh, an archangel is an angel. I probably can't describe it too well in human terms, but they're very loud, they're very clear, and they're a bit closer to God in terms of, I guess, directing things. So it's, I guess, a technical logistic sort of a question. But archangels are very strong, so people can connect to them too, as well as the guardian angels.
Okay, wonderful. And there are a whole, as I understand them, there are a whole list of archangels that have different specialties too, and how they help people. Is that the right way to understand it?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, and so we have a little bit of time left. Do you want to kind of talk to us a little bit about what we might want to do in the next few seconds to communicate with them?
No, it'll take a little longer than that.
Okay. Oh, and here we go. So we'll come back. When we come back, stay with us, and we'll be talking to Shamalah about angels and how to communicate with them.
Okay.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information. Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. We have a very special guest today, Shamalah-Allah, talking all about the angels. But before we jump into the questions, Kim and I figured that the questions would start streaming in, and they already are. So thank you to our inspired listeners for submitting your questions, and we are going to bring them live to air. But before we do that, if you want to ask your question, please head over to social media. On Facebook, you can find us under Inspired Living Radio. And you can also ask your questions there, or you can head over to Twitter, and the Twitter profile is Inspired for Us. That's the number 4. And if you ask your questions on Twitter or Facebook, we'll bring those live to air. Every month we try to have a positive affirmation, and if you can believe it, October is almost over, so we'll have a new positive affirmation coming up in the month of November. But this month's positive affirmation for Inspired Living is by Ernest Hemingway, and it talks about there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self, and that is this month's positive affirmation on Inspired Living. So let's get into the questions, because people love angels. They want to know all about angels. And the first question that I have for you, Shamalah, is coming from one of our inspired listeners, Cindy Downing. Cindy, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We really appreciate it. She wanted to know, how do you know when angels are around you instead of just being loved ones? Great question.
Yeah, angels are not loved ones, so it's a big distinction, and oftentimes people will think their relatives act like angels, and it's not the case at all. That's a good question. How to tell that angels are around you? Usually, when an angel is around you, there's quite a bit of inspiration that comes through into your heart. You might feel a bit of clearing in your mind. You may get very quick messages that come into your brain about very everyday practical kinds of things, kind of like maybe some healthy things you have to get at the grocery store, or how to better care for your child. Really quick, short sentences. Angels communicate with picture, so you might get very, very clear picture. But mostly angels will work in a very emotional healing sort of a way. So you may feel some sensation happening in your chest area where the heart is, or people call heart chakra, but just in your chest. And you may feel maybe some welling up, some tears in your eyes, overwhelming, emotional, very positive experience that can occur. Or you may just be able to sleep better at night, and you ask your angels to help you sleep. You'd be surprised at how often that works. So it's a general calming and emotionally open, overwhelming kind of a feeling, I'd say.
Great question. Great answer. Another question we have for you, Shamalah, coming from, they want to remain anonymous, so we'll keep them as an anonymous inspired listener. They want to know what angels look like, and are they male or female or both?
Angels don't really have a look to them. My experience of seeing angels is mostly through my mind's eye, and I see them as orbs of varying colors. And angels may come through in a masculine feeling or a feminine feeling, only because they know the person would feel more comfortable getting guidance from a male or female sort of feeling. Mm-hmm. But angels are mostly, I'll call them androgynous. And I've been told by them that they just present themselves in a masculine or more feminine way for our psychological comfort, really.
So more energy, like balls of energy. You said orbs. Explain to the listening audience what an orb would be, or how you describe an orb.
Oh, a circle, a sphere. And again, it's mostly in my mind's eye. And it's been only through the years of practicing with the information I've been getting in my head, and when I do readings, it's only through the years, really, of communicating with them that I've learned to basically trust and have faith that I am talking to angels, simply because that's how they identified themselves. And because the information was very edifying and very educational and helpful, made a decision to trust that, yes, I am receiving information from angels because that's what the voices tell me, that's what they say. So you basically have to come down to a decision, because I believe a lot of people experience angels, they just don't know it. And even if they were told they were angels, the person say, it's just in my imagination. So really it comes down to a decision one makes.
Does everybody have angels around them?
Yeah, 99.94% of the people have angels around them. Yes. I've met a few people that I didn't see any angels around them, and that's because for whatever reason their soul chose to incarnate into the earth before it was their time. And so they were not assigned angels. They did not have angels, and let me tell you, they had extremely difficult lives, but that's not the majority. Majority of people do have angels, and the angels are there, and they're available 24/7 to assist the person, whether they know it or not. Now, if you want to be conscious and aware that you're talking to your angels, you must sit in silence, because angels work through the mind, very subtle, very delicate, and you have to train your brain to pick up on those subtle signals if you want to be conscious that you are communicating with them or that you are receiving information from them. But, most people, it could be very difficult training of the mind, or it could be quick. It depends on the person's experience. But I feel it's worth it to be aware that you're receiving information from your angels. It gives so much more emotional support. It's very healthy and very calming.
Well, and I just love how you say emotional support, because that is so much of what I find we need in this lifetime is emotional support. So to know that you've got these just loving beings around us there to love us and support us and guide us is really, like you said, beyond worth it. I mean, for just the 2 to 3 minutes a day. I'd love to go back to that, Shamalah, how people can, you said you're going to talk to us a little bit about how they can connect to their angels. Would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. Wake up in the morning. You wake up in the morning, and before you get out of the bed, sit there for 2 or 3 minutes before you even get out of the bed. Or when you're going to bed, before you lay your head down on that pillow, sit for 2 or 3 minutes. Or if you're in the parking lot about to go to grocery shopping, sit in the car for 2 or 3 minutes before going grocery shopping. If you need to, not to get too graphic, but if you need to go to the bathroom, do your business, but then don't open that door, sit there for 2 or 3 extra minutes in that bathroom.
They don't care.
They don't care. I mean, I know people have busy lives, and so I'm talking about working in these 2 or 3 minutes into your practical daily task, 2 or 3 minutes. And that's because the angels need time to basically train your brain, or, allow silence so your brain can understand how to receive the information or the signals from your angels. And it's so easy, it's ridiculous. You sit there in the silence, you're about to go to the grocery store, right? You say, let me sit 2 or 3 minutes, talk to my angels, okay? I'm going to be quiet for 2 or 3 minutes. Angels, I want to hear you. I want to receive you. You do that. Maybe you do that for a month and you don't hear nothing. And when I say hear, I don't mean you're literally hearing a voice talking in your head, although that can happen. That's what happened to me. But you may start getting thoughts, little thoughts pop up in your head. Like, I don't think I want to call Mary Jane back right away because I'm not feeling too, energetic. I'm feeling tired. So I'll call Mary Jane back maybe a little bit later and rest a little bit longer. There's a message right there. Oh, yeah, before I go into the grocery store, I need to get some oatmeal instead of that old terrible sugar frosted, flaky, whatever that, get something natural instead of the sugary stuff. There's an angel message. There's lots of messages that come through, that help us, that are very practical. But the key is sitting in silence 2 or 3 minutes. That's just the start, and really allow your brain to pick up on those signals. In all fairness, if you don't have someone that knows how to talk to angels, or you're not going to a mediumship or a psychic development class, or you're not talking to me or you, Kim, or Mark, getting a reading, it's going to take a while to really have faith and understand and know that you are talking to angels. And you probably have to go read some books, about angels. Get a little more educated about angels of the internet or any kind of books you can find. But it does take some training to recognize them, but they are there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shamalah, one question I get a lot of times with the power of meditation and exactly what you're saying about going into a silent, just sitting there and looking at your thoughts, people always want to know, how do I know if it's not my imagination versus actual contact with angels? What would you recommend so people can, decipher that it's not my imagination, that yes, an angel is really talking to me and I should listen?
That's the thing. Angels will work with the side of the brain that deals with imagination, because they deal with thought and pictures, and symbols. And so that's the same side of the brain as imagination. So what I did is I asked a question of my angels, and I got information back, and I couldn't tell if it was imagination or not. So I had to test it out. I actually followed the quote unquote imaginary thought, and it turned out to be more correct than incorrect. I would get information for and about other people, and so I actually applied it. I took risks. I followed through on the guidance with faith instead of fear. And I would even suggest that, people who are interested in angels and trying to communicate to them, I'll guarantee you 100% of these people, all of you listeners out there, you're probably psychic and very highly intuitive to even be interested in this stuff. So I would gamble that your imagination is really an intuitive thought, an angel communication, something in the psychic realm that's very positive, I'll say. And I would say, stop questioning whether it's your imagination or not, and decide, okay, I'm going to say it is true, communication, and follow through on it and see what happens. You'll be pleased.
Yeah, that's a great answer, and I totally agree with you, Shamalah. I think everybody has these abilities to tune in to what they want to get out of their psychic abilities or mediumship or talking to angels. And we're going to get ready to go to our second break. The show is just cruising along. We do have a few more questions, and good thing that we've made this a two-part series now. So we're going to have Shamalah back next week with us as well, and we're going to be taking a lot more questions and talking about how we can communicate with angels and how they can help us in our daily lives. So we're going to cut to break real quick. You are listening to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks for listening, everybody.
That's what I'm talking about.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Join Elliot Jollish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jollish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jollish Hour. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, Intuitive Life Coach and Energy Healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio. Today's show, we had to switch it up a little bit, so we're talking all about angels, angels, angels. And Shamalah, real quick, before we went to the break, we were talking about imagination, and you had talked about a side of the brain as far as being separate. What side of the brain is imagination? I know Einstein talked a lot about the power of imagination and where that comes from. For our listening audience, can you go just in a little bit more detail and describe how it comes in, how you connect with the angels, and that very subtle place of just sitting in the power and listening what the angels would have to say to us?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to sit in silence, okay? No TV, no radio, phone is off. Lots of times sitting in the car is really, it's insulating. So that's a good place to sit in silence, I found, is in the car. Okay, you're not driving, your car is parked. Okay, then you're going to say, angels, my intention is to communicate with you, or angels, please come through. Say anything to that matter. Just be real. Just say, I want to talk to you. I want to hear. I want to learn. And then you have to shut your mouth. You sit in silence. Okay. You don't have to time it, but just kind of sit there for a little bit, 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Okay. And what you want to do is just be there. And angels are going to work with your heart. You're going to feel things in your chest. Okay, you're going to feel more relaxed. You may have lots of thoughts coming up. Okay, but over time, those thoughts will sort out, and you'll gain a heightened sense of intuition, a heightened intuitive state, and your brain will learn on its own. You don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to think about the left brain or the right brain. You don't have to think about anything. It's what you want to do is you don't want to think at all. You want the angels to do their magic in working with those connections, those energy connections that we don't logically understand as human beings how it works, but they do connections with our thoughts and with our body and with our minds, and we just sit there. And it's much like going to the beauty salon or getting a haircut. You sit there in the chair while the, hairstylist does their magic. And next thing you know, it's done. Angels do the same thing. They just need your time.
So, Shamalah, that is great. We had another question come in on discernment. So, and I know you covered a little bit about this earlier. Is the best way to, I know you talked about classes, reading books, educating yourself, because it is a process. Everyone's learning on their path. And also, I believe you had mentioned maybe testing things out, testing what you get. Is that the right way to think about that?
Yeah, when I first, it's really through trial and error, and it's through the years. I mean, I'm talking about years that I've learned that I was communicating with angels. And it's basically I received information intuitively, very strongly, really strong thoughts. And I simply asked, I said, who is communicating to me? Because it was so clear and so bright. And the answer I got back was, this is Archangel Gabriel. And I was like, holy smokes, Archangel Gabriel. Wow, is this real? And I heard, yes, this is real. So what I did was I said, okay. And I really opened myself up to receiving more information. I said, okay, give me more information. What do I need to know? And I started getting information about my sister's job. I got information for friends and their dental work, of all things. I got information about people's pregnancies. And I just said to people, look, I'm getting information that's coming through psychically from beings that they identify themselves as angels. So listen to what I'm getting. This is a message for you. And I would tell the person the message. And it was so correct. It was so helpful. And so it was through that, those kinds of experiences, rather, over the years of doing that over and over and over again, that I finally started to trust that what I was being told was from angels, because that's what they said. That's what it comes down to, is trust and faith. But it was through these experiences of just really, I had to share what I got to get the validation. Or when I got messages for myself, don't make that left, make a right, or don't go to that party, or it's okay to talk to that person, they're safe. I asked questions and I got answers, and I followed through and trusted those answers to test it out, and it was very helpful. Then I said, okay, I'm going to believe that these are angels. What else am I supposed to do?
Right, right. And over the course
decision, because I feel like people could see God. God could be talking to them, and this ball of light could come down on the top of their head and say, hi, I am God, and I'm going to tell you some things you need to know. And the person could say, you know what? That wasn't even real. That was my imagination. And it could have been God. I mean, how do you know really how God is supposed to be experienced? You have to come down to trusting what you're receiving, applying it, test it out, and then you have to make a decision to believe that the source of what you're getting is what it is. I mean, heck, they got plenty of prophets that did it. It's all in the Bible and the Quran and everywhere else. So this is old stuff. This is nothing new. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
Just comes down to some discernment and time and practice and trust.
Look,
Let
me tell you something, Mark. People are afraid. I'll just say it, the elephant in the room. People are afraid when they hear things is coming from a demon, it's coming from a devil, it's coming from something evil. Well, let me tell you something. Anything evil cannot maintain spiritual guidance that's good, practical, helpful, and emotional healing. If it's good, practical, helpful, and it's emotionally healing, it's coming from a good source. It's not coming from anything bad.
Right. And that's really what the angels, as we know, are about. Now, yes. Shamalah, when you and I were talking, as we didn't know that we were going to be talking about angels today, what a lovely surprise. Because we're also going to, as Mark said earlier, we're going to be doing part 2 next week. So I'm anticipating.
Yeah, that's November 4th. Right?
Yes, yeah. Yes, November 4th.
Y'all better mark that date and call in.
So there you go. Send through your questions now.
Personal questions. Ask personal questions. Get a little reading. Shoot, why not?
Yeah.
Well, we do have a question that's come in, and I know, we talked about what the angels want to talk about, and they said they want to talk about emotional healing or healing. Now, we've got a question that's come through from Isaac, and okay. Isaac says that he feels like he's on the cusp of success, like all the things that he's wanted to bring into his life, that he feels like he's right on the cusp of. It's not quite there yet, but he also at the same time wonders if there's anything holding him back from achieving all that he's wanting to bring in. Are there any blocks, anything that he needs to be aware of?
Oh, yeah. His angels, he's got a lot of angels because he has so many different varying areas that he's interested in, and he probably has to focus on probably maybe 1 or 2 things in his life that he really wants to expand upon because he's got a lot of interest going on at the same time. However, he might question things a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. That's the block I'm getting, and that's holding him back and creating some hesitation. So what I'm getting is Isaac may want to not question things so much. Okay. You over question things. That's the fear talking, really. And the angels would like him to, take his time, go through things one step at a time. And he's going through a lot of self-acceptance. The phase he's going through is self-acceptance. And when he's done with that phase, then he'll feel a lot more grounded, a lot more confident, really, as he's seeking confidence. So, his angels are very proud of him. He probably doesn't have to pray so hard either. Just relax.
Okay.
Angels don't like people praying too hard because you have people who never pray. Then you have people who pray too hard. And angels don't like people praying too hard too much because then it gets into stress and anxiety and you're just doing it out of fear. You know what I mean? Not out of faith. Just say a couple of sentences. The angels can hear you, just fine. Oh, as long as you're not watching too much TV. Angels do not like people watching a lot of TV and movies. I mean, things that are really violent. If it's documentary, educational, okay. But a lot of those violent movies, heavy dramas, that really takes up a lot of stress in the body and the mind, because when we're looking at those shows, our minds and our bodies are actually going through those experiences. And so angels don't like all that violence and all that media stuff clouding the brain, because it makes it even harder for you to pick up on the very subtle cues that they're trying to give us.
Now, Shamalah, we have another question that has just come in. John from Idaho. John, thank you so much for your question and being an inspired listener. He wants to know if there's a hierarchy to angels. Everything that we see in the world tends to have some sort of structure or hierarchy to it. He would like to know if angels are the same way. Is there a hierarchy to an archangel, to just a regular angel? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a hierarchy taught in the Catholic religions and the Muslim religions. There are a hierarchy of angels. They're very organized, and that's how they're taught, taught in these mainstream religions. However, in my practice, in my work, when I describe angels, I don't explain them too much in a hierarchy. I explain them as just they're kind of in charge of different departments or different facets of our lives. And one kind of angel isn't more, better than the other. So again, you do have angels that are messengers of God, if you will. Those are archangels. They'll be direct messengers of God, and that's where you have Archangel Gabriel, Jophiel, Archangel Michael. Those are some Zadkiel. Those are some very common archangel names that you can call upon, and direct messengers of God. That's fine. But you also have angels that work with, again, hospital care, animals, finances, health. I mean, you name it, any facet of living, you have angels that are right by your side helping you. And again, the tendency for us humans is to intellectualize things around angels, but really angels work with our emotions and our hearts. But that's my answer to the hierarchies.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for staying with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes as we talk about angels.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim as we talk about the angels today with our special guest Shamalah-Allah. And we were just joking on break that The angels, it looks like, wanted 2 weeks of airtime as opposed to just one. So here we are, honoring their wish. And before we left, we were talking a little bit about the hierarchy of angels. And I want to just make sure before we continue, because there's a lot of questions coming, a lot of people just fascinated with angels, want to learn more and want to know how they can get in touch with Shamalah. So you can reach Shamalah at shamalah.com. We're going to be posting this on social media as well. That's SHAMALAH.com. You can also reach her, on Google Plus at Reverend Shamalah-Allah, ALLAH. You can also reach her by phone, 650-719-0097. Did I miss anything, Shamalah?
No. Wait, Google Plus? You said Google Plus, right?
Google Plus. We've got the contact number.
Yeah.
There we go.
Home office number. Yeah, just call me on my home office number, 650-719-0097. And, you go from there. Just call me, regular.
And Shamalah,
Okay.
you're out of the San Francisco Bay Area, correct?
Yeah, my office is in San Mateo, but that's the San Francisco Bay Area. So that's where I do in-person readings.
And where can people get your book?
Oh, that's also on my website, Shamalah.com. It's an ebook. It's called Boundaries Beyond Death and Coincidence. And that's not so much about angels, although angels are mentioned in there, but that book is about all of my experiences with house cleansing and house cleaning, haunted homes. So that's a whole separate topic. I do house blessings and house clearings.
Well, Halloween is on Saturday.
There you go, Mark.
So Shamalah, we had another question come in while we were on break.
Okay,
and
this is what people need to know, Kim. I just came from the angels. What people need to know is that angels do not like a lot of noise. They don't like noise. They like silence. So if you want to communicate with them, you need to be in a very silent, quiet place. Give them your time. Calm down. Ask your question of your angels. Shut your mouth. And then listen for the answer through the intuition, through your intuition. God's voice, Goddess's voice is heard through the intuition. If you are quiet and calm and ask your question from the heart, Goddess will talk to you. God will talk to you. Whether it's an angel or not, you will hear God's voice and she will talk to you through the intuition, through the silence. Boom. That's all you need to know.
There you go. Okay, so silence being the operative word there. We have a question that's come in from Lucy, and she says that she's had experiences with angels and feel guided to make a huge overhaul in her life right now. Is this the soft push from the angels that are working with me?
The overall in her life, a soft put, that don't sound soft. That sounds overhaul in the life. That sounds huge. This sounds like she hears everything very loud and clear. What is she asking you this question for? Too bad you're not on the phone, because I'd like to hear that answer. What does she want to know? Follow through on the guidance. Yes, Lucy. I guess I'm supposed to give her a confirmation. Say yes. Okay. Yes, Lucy.
That's from the angels. Okay.
Hear the angels first, and then, you feeling you need to do an overhaul. Actually, that's a good point Lucy is bringing up, because really, angels, when you start really hearing them and talking to them and really receiving and applying that guidance, it elevates your life. They help elevate your life. God helps elevate your life. She elevates your life directly through communication with God or through the angels. God works in so many different ways. And so that can require a lot of cleanup. Okay, maybe we got to drop bad habits. I myself need to lose more weight. Okay, because that affects me. We clean up our health. We might have to get rid of some relationships that no longer serve us. Maybe romantic or friendships, just old relationships that no longer serve us in a positive way when we go through our soul's evolution. So the angels, as well as God, is concerned about your soul's evolution. And if it's not working toward that evolution, it's going to get eliminated. And so probably that's what Lucy might be talking about. So I'll agree with her. She probably needs to do an overhaul. And that will help elevate her and bring more positive experiences into her life. And so the big thing with Lucy is I feel like a lot of the depression that she used to struggle with is no longer there. And that's the biggest healing that she received from communication with her angels, is getting rid of that old, nasty old depression that used to be around her since probably she was a little girl. So congratulations, Lucy. There you go. Boom.
I was going to say, boom. I was totally going to say that, Shamalah. You read my mind. Boom. There it is.
Wow.
Boom.
That's how they there's no messing around when the angels come through. And that's actually right in alignment with what you were channeling earlier, Shamalah, with the angels working with us. They're wanting to spend these next 2 weeks talking about emotional healing, more specifically manifestation and attaining personal goals, right? That's what we talked about. Explaining the blocks. What do you want versus what are you ready to handle? Things like that. Where you think you're at versus where you're really at. Right?
Kim, because there's this man, okay, it's been a few years, but it's a client of mine, a man on the outside very successful. Used to be able to catch a woman with a drop of a dime, and then he told me all of a sudden, he doesn't know how, he said he lost his courage. He lost his courage. There's people that lose a courage. They lose a faith. Maybe there was a death in the family, or maybe someone said something mean to them, and all of a sudden, whatever strength they had is gone. Or they had a bunch of savings, and the next thing you know, they owed all these taxes, and their money is gone, and they lose parts of themselves, and they feel like they can't move forward in life. And they still want that house. They still want that car. They still want that relationship. Or they still just want to feel whole again. They want to feel a sense of peace. They want to feel rested and relaxed. They want to feel strong. It may not be about acquiring anything materialistically. They just want to feel human and feel good, So that's what the angels do. You spend time with the angels. And you may not even have a question. You may just want healing. You sit and you open yourself up to receiving a healing from God and from the angels. And they will do it. You just give them your time, And so that's how angels work. You feel like, okay, I'm a man and I haven't had a relationship in a long time and I want that relationship. How do I get that girl? The angel's going to start at step 1. We're going to get your courage back. We'll help you feel strong and get your courage back. And once you have that, then we'll go to the next step and help you articulate how to better communicate to the females so that you can get some better connections going on. Angels work with a step-by-step process in manifesting. They're not going to skip steps. And a lot of times what's blocking us has to do with emotional things, lack of courage, lack of faith, not knowing how to communicate, afraid to take risks. So these are things that angels help with in terms of getting your mojo back, getting that feeling back so that you could take those steps toward what you want.
Well, and that's what I think is just going to be so great for our show next week, too, as people take this next week to think about what it is you'd like to ask your angels, and hearing the messages that come through on practical next steps, like you said, Shamalah, starting from the first step. In order to get to where it is you want to be in a much healthier way, right, and a faster way, and a more in a better way, right? So this week, that's what everybody's homework assignment is in this inspired community, is to really think about what it is that you'd like to ask your angels for next week, because they want to focus on bringing in the healing wherever it's needed, empowering each one of us, for our, educational purposes, for growth, for healing, to get us to where we want to be, so that we're in the lives that we truly desire. Is that a good way to
Yeah,
Describe it.
And another thing, absolutely. Also, too, there's a lot of depression in our American society, and angels are working very hard at helping people to alleviate this oppression and depression, and they don't even know where it's coming from. And we don't have to know where or how it got there, but sitting in silence and connecting to your angels just for healing wherever is needed is very helpful. 2 or 3 minutes every day, just that. You don't even have to have a question about anything.
There you go. And I know that, it's interesting that you say depression and how people feel about their lives and even themselves. I find that to be a running theme in the sessions that I do too. So it's encouraging to hear the angels are working with us specifically on that, because I know that depression can be a very debilitating thing to have in one's life.
Absolutely. Everybody doesn't have to be a superstar on YouTube or on American Idol or whatever. People are needing to learn how to accept themselves as they are, and that's what angels help us with, so that we don't go through this depression comparing ourselves to these things on the media that are not real.
Is that what they're finding
Yes.
as the root cause of this depression, is the comparison and having to live up to something else?
Yes. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Everybody wants to be a superstar. And if they're not, then they feel they're not good enough. And the reality is everyone's just human.
All right. With that said, Shamalah, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, thanks, Shamalah.
Welcome you back next week. Have a beautiful week.
Thanks.